Well, good evening, everybody. It's Thursday night, and did you see the big news out there today? Dr. Frankenstein Fauci, he's gonna get, it looks like, and we never know because it's Congress and all that, but it looks like he may be in trouble for allegedly contempt of court. Poor Dr. Fauci. And I know a lot of you are going to be not happy with me. And I've already seen all your emails and your notes on my page because you believe the guy. Well, I'm sorry. I think he deserves this and more. I hope they put him in jail for a year to just teach him a lesson. And that's not even the beginning of it. What I want you to do is if you really think, oh, he did the right thing, he's such a great guy, then you need to go look at and talk to the people who lost relatives because they couldn't get ivermectin or they couldn't get other things that actually were proven to work. But Dr. Fauci and his evil doers kept them from getting the medications and the things that they needed. So don't come to me with your bullshit when you got people who died for this and you say, oh, look at all the people that died, Rick Dancer. You don't even believe this. Oh, no, I believe it. But a lot of very innocent people died because of it. Let's get our sponsors. And I have Rob from Bait and Tackle down in Eugene or in Coos Bay, Basin Bait and Tackle. And he's going by Doug Washington. He'll have to explain that to us. And he's going to come on and talk about Fauci. We're going to talk about other news things. He has a radio show down in Coos Bay, and he's very funny, and it will be very entertaining unless you don't like what it is we talk about. But anyway, our sponsors are Dr. Michael Bratton. Dr. Bratton loves America first, and all of his crowns are made in the United States. Lots of dentists use crowns made in China. You wouldn't find a Chinese crown in Dr. Bratlin's office if you paid him. Another sponsor, Ingles Furniture and Mattress Store in North Bend, Oregon. He's now your furniture guy, is the one who came up with this idea to get Rob on here. And well, we both kind of put our heads together. And it doesn't mean we agree with everything. Our sponsors don't agree with everything we talk about or say, but they do agree that Americans should be Americans. And that means we get to talk about whatever we want to. And we are a free country. Our other sponsor is Freedom Law Group. Oregon is, and I know I tell you this all the time, but I want to make sure you know, one of 12 states, maybe 13, I can't remember now, who have a death tax. So when you die, they're continuing to take your money. And Alan Thayer has a plan for everybody, for your inheritance, to make sure as much of it is going to your relatives and the people that you love, not Tina Kotek and her Democrat Party who are running the state of Oregon. So I know, it's appalling. They take your money even when you're dead. Rob, how do you feel about giving your money to Kate Brown back in the day and now Tina Kotek and the rest?
Yeah, a death tax is just an insidious thing. Just by virtue of its name alone, a death tax just evokes horrible images and thoughts and a totalitarian feel to it. It just sounds horrible. I just want to say real quick, you were talking about, your sponsors don't have to agree with everything that maybe you say or I say. And you talked about how that's kind of the beauty of America, and they're America first. And that's why they're your sponsors. And I love that. We all don't have to get along all the time.
Right.
But the common ground should be love of country, love of expression, love of freedom. And something's happened along the way. And the death tax, you're penalizing people for dying. How horrible is that?
Well, it's like, okay, so you work your whole life, you make this, you get this little fortune that you have that, maybe what your different, levels, but your plan is to leave it to your kids or, your spouse or people like that. And here's Oregon, like just standing there going, okay, Dad, now get it. I mean, and there is a move in Salem to get rid of this, but there's two moves actually. And one of them is by the Democrats. And when you figure it up, they toy around with the numbers. And when you really figure it up, you pay more most people are going to pay more. There's another plan to just get rid of it. Kevin Mannix had a plan to just get rid of it. But the problem in Oregon is because when it's controlled by the Democrats, once you give it's kind of like the teachers union. My dad used to even say this. It's like the teachers union is once they get a raise or once you put something in a contract, it never goes away. I remember,
correct.
And people think, well, we're going to do for 3 years, we're going to do this increase because the teachers had to do such and such and such and such. Well, that 3 years goes away. That's never going away once you say yes to it.
Agreed, 100%. Once they're on that trough, that feeding trough, you'll never get them to not feed off of it again.
Hey, how did you get the name Doug Washington? And I also want to know. I know you're he, him, your majesty is the one.
Some of the other shows I'm on, I guess that just defaulted in there. I didn't realize it was still like that. So Doug Washington, there was two local Robs with a radio show here in town. One was Rob Taylor and one was Rob from Basin Tackle. Well, people couldn't figure out which Rob was which. So I would always get introduced as the other Rob. And I was in the Coquille courthouse one day. I had to give some testimony at a trial. And they're like, oh, hey, it's Rob Taylor's here. I'm like, oh, Rob, oh, cool. I'm like, no, you're here. Who's Rob? No, I'm not Rob Taylor. I'm Rob from Basin Tackle. Whole different name altogether. Like, no, you're Rob Taylor from Basin Tackle. Go, well, I am Rob. I am from Basin Tackle, but I'm not Rob Taylor. And people I've known for 3, 4, 5 years were like, your name's seriously not Rob Taylor? Like, no, but you have the radio show. Yes, there's two people with the first name Rob that have a radio show in the same market. This isn't a difficult thing to figure out, people. I even had a guy come to my shop, and Rob is very conservative as well, and somebody branded him as a Nazi because he said something they didn't like. He's not a Nazi at all. And I had like a guy outside my shop, this guy's a Nazi, this guy's a Nazi. Rob Taylor's a Nazi. I'm like, I'm not Rob Taylor and I'm not a Nazi. And I was getting to the point where like I was kind of looking around outside because I'm going to beat the hell out of this guy, right? Like I'm just going to put him into the ground, but there's too many cameras, there's too many people around. And I finally told him, I will give you $100 if I'm Rob Taylor. And if I'm not Rob Taylor, you have to come in and buy $100 worth of fishing poles for kids. Well, he starts going around town asking people, that's Rob Taylor, right? No, it's not Rob Taylor. Well, what's your name? Everyone's asking, well, what's your name? So just off the cuff, I came up with Doug. Call me Doug Washington. I was trying to think of like just a good stoic all-American name, Doug Washington. And it stuck. And to this day, people go, hey, Doug, when they see me out in public. Half of them know it's a joke. Half of them don't know. So I think now legally I'm required, if I fill out any kind of like security form or anything that says, do you have an AKA and also known as or an alias, I think I have to put down Doug Washington now.
So do you vote under that alias?
No. Many times. In
Oregon, I can vote as many times as I want to. Doug Washington,
oh gosh,
Nina Brown. It doesn't matter. Hey, what did you think when you heard that the Senate actually voted to put some charges maybe on Dr.
I was surprised. I was happy with it. I mean, I don't like seeing this type of turmoil happening in our nation, but I think it had to happen. I think people calling other people Nazis. I mean, Fauci has the face of a Third Reich monster. I made a meme of him where I put him in full Nazi regalia. And of course, it lasted a week and then Facebook pulled it and banned me for 30 days or something. But he looks the type. He sounds the type. He behaves the type. And it's sad that some people don't see the evil for what it is. And it's not evil because of his political affiliation. It's not evil. No. It's evil because of the steps he did. It's evil because of the lies. It's evil because he was telling people to wear 2 masks and don't go see grandma while she's dying in the hospital. Meanwhile, that piece of garbage was out at a ball game, not wearing a mask, hanging out with a few friends, and everything's cool. It was insane. Arrows on the floor, grocery shopping, arrows. Nobody else does, Rick. Six of us remember it. Nobody else does.
I said to my wife the other day, remember when they had a direction and you had to go down the grocery store line? Yep. And so what Kathy and I would do is get in it and we'd go the opposite way. Because I mean, it was early on. I mean, I think I wore it longer than my wife did because I was doing a show then and people were like canceling you like crazy. And then I realized I'm going to get canceled no matter what. So I
Yeah.
just went all out and went, and she stopped one time. Kathy was at Winco in Springfield, and she's the only person in the store without a mask. And she just said, I refuse to put it on. So she's walking around and she said, and then she hears the intercom. Would everyone please make sure they have their mask on? She goes, I knew they were talking about me, but I walked, and my
Yep.
wife, palsy. She walked right up to the register and they said, you need to have your mask on. She goes, just tell me what I owe you and I'll write you a check. And she wrote him a check and walked out, and she felt so much better about it. That was the part to me that was so humiliating, because I knew, and I think a lot of us knew this, we just understood. We were reading the science, we were reading the information and going, this is bullshit. Yes, there's COVID. Yes, there are people getting sick, but this is a cold. This is not all this.
Yep.
This isn't, and it wouldn't have killed people if Dr. Fauci and others would have let them use ivermectin and all the things they were teasing and saying this is wrong. And now they won't admit it. They're still sticking their heels in. I got people on my page today digging their heels in and saying he saved people. He didn't save people.
No, he didn't save anybody. He didn't save anybody. And what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions, I think is the old adage. And maybe the intentions were good, but it takes a special kind of person that is in power to admit that they were wrong midstream and go, you know what? We got to fix this. And perhaps that did happen along the way. Either he's evil, front, back, and center, or he's too weak to admit that he was wrong somewhere through and thought, I have to save face. I can't go back on everything I've been saying, and we have to keep going forward with this nonsense. It was horrible. The social media, or what was it called? The social distancing. I had a policy in my 6-foot policy. I had it in my shop. My lawyer, who's just an amazing guy, he says, do you have he goes, I'm assuming you're not closing. I'm like, you're damn right I'm not. He goes, do you have a policy in place in case somebody comes and audits you? I said, I do indeed. And I had a broom handle, and I spray painted the end of it yellow. And the theory was, if you're in the shop, you're welcome to use this stick, and you just swing the bejesus out of it. And if you hit somebody, they are too close to you. And that was, honest to goodness, my social distancing protocol I had for the shop.
That's a little rough. I mean,
no, people need to learn somehow.
I forgot about that. I remember, restaurants, and Kathy and I were going to get like the little fake cards, and then we realized, then we started thinking about it and going, wait a minute, if somebody doesn't want me in there because they believe this is true, and they're going to make me show a card, fuck them. I'm not going to their restaurant, I'm not going to do it. So we didn't pay. And then I remember early on, there were some restaurants, there were some bars in Springfield and restaurants that went out of business after a while, but they disregarded all of it. And Kathy and I had never been to some of them, and we just would just go there and sit down, have a beer, in a normal place to make you feel like you were normal. But I think it's going to be years before we figure out all the mental and paranoia and just stuff that people picked up from being controlled like that. It's not healthy.
It fundamentally changed our nation.
Yeah.
Everything from, and it's funny because one little thing I noticed, and I'm not a big fan of buffets because I don't like eating other people's spit. But all the buffets that they used to have, buffets closed overnight, and very few of them are open. And I mean, that was a very cultural thing for our nation. You don't go around the rest of the world and get these giant buffets for 10, 20 bucks or whatever it is. And most of those went by the wayside. All the other behaviors, all the other different things that changed. And with children, like the don't go to school crap. Like who has the best immune system? Like the young, healthy people. Do you remember? This is one that nobody talks about. In New York State, CNN and all the alphabet news agencies were showing an aerial photograph of the mass graves where all these coffins were buried. I call bullshit because not a single person was interviewed like, oh, my mom is in there. Oh, my spouse is in there. And it went away after that. The shock value that they put forward for that. And then it went away. Like, oh, yeah, there's no mass graves. We can't ever talk about it. No, show that again. Let's talk about it. What was that? Who faked that?
Yeah.
Frightening.
And in the name of public health. And then I think one of the other after effects of this whole thing is what's happened to our hospitals. It's like, I don't have faith in them. I don't have faith in many doctors or hospitals, and because they lied to us, and then how much money they made off of it. And the first guy in Lane County who died and was said to be of COVID, I've had many people who are in the know who said that person died of underlying causes and that COVID was there, but it wasn't what killed this person. And they put it out as
Yes.
COVID
Um,
death. And it was
yeah,
like,
all the comorbidities that people had leading into it. Oh, that my cousin Steve, yeah, he was 55 years old. He was 485 pounds. He was a diabetic. He died of COVID. No, he didn't die of COVID. He died of everything else. And everybody else nobody died of the flu for 2 or 3 years. Nobody died of the flu. Nobody caught the flu, Rick. Very few people died in car crashes. Very few people died from anything else. It was
yeah,
all chalked up as COVID. And you follow
you
the
got
money,
money.
man.
Yeah, because you got money as a hospital, and now they're
Yes.
suffering. And I think that's kind of how God judges things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You fool me once, shame on you. You know, and
Yep.
I hope that he gets, I wasn't like a big Fauci hater or anything, but I do hate what he did. And I think when that many people and you take that kind of power and you listen to his words in his diary, his private diary, which he's so freaking arrogant that he put it on a public
Yes.
server.
Yes.
I mean, and then anybody who's, well, not all liberals are like that, but a bunch of liberal people are just going, this is because the media is doing it, is
Yep.
Republican retaliation. It's like, no, not just Republicans died. This guy killed millions of people all over the world, despite their political affiliation. And you should be appalled that we as a nation, that there's, probably a good half the people are sticking up for him and
Yeah.
saying,
No.
no, he tried to save us. They're not looking at the information. And all these, I had a guy come on my page today and say, yeah, you asshole. And, you didn't follow the science. And I'm going, which science are you following? The same one that talks about climate change is why we're having forest fires. Yeah, that one.
It saddens me. It saddens me how blind the sheep are. And I'm a little bit of conservative. In fact, I'm probably to the right of Attila the Hun. I am uber, and I've had to back away from the body politic here locally because people that espouse themselves as conservatives and Republicans, it's like, dude, you are so far left. It's not even funny. So I kind of keep to myself with a lot of that now. But having said that, there are idiots on both sides of the aisle. There really are. It's just, we do it in different ways. And the blind sycophantic followers of everything Fauci, of everything science. What is science? Why are you guys the arbiters and the definers of what is true science and what is not true science? How does that work? If you have a D beside your name, suddenly you are the judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to what is science and what is not science. You mentioned Fauci, you said arrogance. And I think that's the key word for him. He has always been arrogant, and he's more arrogant as time goes on. Will anything big happen? I don't believe so.
No, I mean, he's 85 years old.
Yeah.
I think I wish they would put him in jail. They could put him in jail.
Yeah.
And because, his case is different than Steve Bannon's, but Republican supporters of Trump were put in jail but they should have showed up. I mean, at least Fauci did show up and he gave his fifth, but the other ones did not show up. So that was their contempt of court. But to me, contempt of court should be contempt of court. Whether you show up or don't show up or use the fifth, you still played games. And if you're going to put Republican supporters in jail for contempting, not court, excuse me, I keep saying court, it's Congress. If you're going to do that, you should do the same thing for Fauci. Steve Nice,
great point.
Of those shutdowns need to be stricken from our history to never be repeated. And I think it will be repeated because they saw how far they could push us. Now, the next time around, I think there'd be a whole hell of a lot of us. It's going to have to, it's like, I ain't doing it.
Well, they've tried time and time again. Oh, the Ebola, the murder hornets, the whatever, the X, Y, and Z. It's always something, right? I mean, it's kind of the nature of media and it's the nature of government, I think, nowadays. But I think they got onto something really good, and they would love to be able to do something like that again. And will it happen again? Yeah. What do we learn from history that we don't learn from history? Truly, we repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again.
I think with COVID, what it kind of taught us a little bit, minus to me, that showed me about culture, is we're so gullible. I mean, we want somebody, we want somebody to do it for us. So I don't want to think, I don't want to do the research. So let somebody else. And because when I listen to these people come on my page about whether it's the fires or Fauci or any of this, it's talking points that they're getting from their side or their
Yep.
media or something like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've always been fascinated with the Third Reich, with what happened in World War II and how it happened, and it's funny how history writes itself and is rewritten by the victors and things like that. And I've always kind of wondered, how did it happen? How did certain things during that time, how on earth did they happen? And I've watched every documentary I could. I've read treatises and books on World War II and Nazi Germany, and I could never get a handle on how some of the things that happened. Like, I don't get it. And then COVID happened here, and it was like, oh shit, they just told them to do it. And they went, okay, that was it. There's no great mystery to it. There is to atrocities and war crimes and anything else all throughout history. There is no great mystery to it. They were told, you will do this, right? And everyone went, yes, we will follow the lines, Fauci. We will wear the masks. In fact, 2 masks. 3 masks is better than 1, is better than 2. We will follow the lines. We will go to the restaurant. We will open the mask. We will take the bite of the food. We will replace the mask. Yeah, jawohl.
Well, let's take it one step further. I think before COVID, this is kind of the same thing you're saying, but I want to add something to it. But before COVID, I think you'd ask a lot of people, and especially a lot of people who that followed hook, line, and sinker with COVID. If you were in Germany and the Nazis were in charge, would you have turned people in? Would you have hidden people? Would you have gone along with the crowd? And I think most of those people say, oh, I'd never do that. I'd never do that.
Right.
What scared the hell out of me about COVID is that I think a lot of people, you saw how they would do that when the fear is that much, and all of a sudden you're killing people, and people like I'm
Yes.
running the bike path. I'm on a fucking bike path and I'm running, and I've got people turning their mask face away from me as I'm running by, like they're going to get COVID from me. I mean, isn't
that wild?
You do it. That's how you do it. You convince people that people are dying and you have to save them. When else would you have people calling the sheriff's department and turning in their neighbors because they saw too many cars over there at Thanksgiving time? I mean,
isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
isn't that amazing?
You had to, if this could have gone on longer, it could have been people like you and me hiding in apartments, hiding in places because people were looking for us. I lost a ton of business because of well-meaning people going online, calling my clients and telling them. I have one guy who I went to church with and was allegedly a friend of mine and helped me when I remodeled my house, helped design the whole thing. That's how close we were. And he called up my clients and told them to quit doing business with me because I was spreading misinformation. So you went out of your way to try to destroy my business and my family income because of your arrogance and thinking that you were right. Now that just blows my freaking mind. You know what I mean? That somebody would, I might think that. I don't think I could because I'm not like that. But I would never go and call, like actually do it. And yeah, did you see Mark what he wrote?
Yes. I was out fishing. I mean, literally, the reason I was so late in getting logged on is because I had to get off the water. I had to load up fish. I had to pull in the driveway. I had to wash the boat. I had to rinse the motor. I had to do all this stuff, take off some of my smelly clothes. I'm in the truck right now because I smell like fish. And I had like 5 minutes to spare, and it worked out. What you don't know, folks, those of you watching, is that we had technical issues, and I had to log off, log back on, cycle the phone off and on. But thankfully, it worked. So
you said that really fast. And so it sounded like you said you had testicle issues.
You totally testicle issues. Yeah, they're like cojones like this, my friend.
Rob has such big balls with the way he talks. He has to actually lift his leg up to get into the car and sit back.
Technical issues. Going back to the COVID thing, and exactly what you're saying about people turning in people, it gave power to people that typically in society are maybe lower on the intellectual and socioeconomic scale, that were not in positions of power. People that maybe worked in jobs and places that were kind of low in the rung, but still good, productive members of society. Suddenly, they were the arbiters of none shall pass, and they had the power to chase you out of a building. And they took that power and they ran with it and they relished in it.
Well, and I think also that the typical protester people who gripe about everything from underwear to whatever. This gave them a cause, and I did also want to bring up. I thought it was interesting. They were talking about in the hearings when they were talking about that. Remember those Black Lives rallies? Because Floyd was killed because of his drug use, and then they'd have those rallies, and that's when I started. Honestly, that's when I started really questioning it, because the first 3 weeks or so, I remember Kathy and I were like, okay, and I did call the guy who owned our gym. He's not living anymore, so this isn't going to hurt him. But I called him and I said, like 2 days in, and I said, okay, Kathy and I are going crazy, and if you don't allow me to, the people will be dead. And he goes, okay, here's the code. So Kathy and I went every day, and we had to leave the lights off in the gym, and we went to the gym every day. And then we started seeing more people, like people were showing up, and we're going, oh, this is great. But we're all working out in the gym in the dark.
So that's a cute story. It's a cool story, and it's a sad story all at the same time. That encompasses everything.
Right. That we had people actually looking at stuff like that it's just okay, so I'll give you another one. Kathy and I went, okay, we're going up to McKenzie River. We're going to go on a hike. And Kate Brown had said, no hiking outside. You have to have a mask. And it's like, screw you. And so we went on this hike. We saw a few people on the way up, and it was fine. But everybody's kind of doing their distancing and stuff. We get to the top, and you come up over the edge. There's like 40 people up there, and they all look at me. And I look at them, and I mean, you're not supposed to be. I said, okay, nobody takes any pictures. I know I'm Rick Dancer, and I know I'm up here. Please keep this to yourself. And everybody had big smiles on their face, like, okay, we've all got a secret up here. Janice says, I think many of us PTSD from all of this. I worked in King County in Washington at the time. They were nuts. I'm unjabbed, which was rare. I'm unjabbed too. I was like, I'm not taking that thing. And now look what we're finding out. Even Fauci, this is why don't people get mad about this? He had 8 boosters or something, and he got a heart arrhythmia that is tied. They don't know that his is, but that kind of thing is a tie to that. And he had other things. I have people in my family, in my life, who every time they got the booster, they got COVID. And I'd be going, well, wait a minute. I don't have COVID. I don't have the booster. You're getting the booster, and you're getting COVID. So something in the science here doesn't really add up.
And the forces that I blame, I think more than anything, to me, is the media. If we had a truly fair and impartial media, like we used to. Remember World War II? America would be doing these giant missions, these giant maneuvers, and they would tip off some of the journalists at the time, like, hey guys, this is what's going to go on tomorrow, but please do not publish a story. Like, we could trust them. We could trust our journalists because they loved America. And then it was right around that time things started to kind of go south and go the other direction. But how far we have come, if they were just fair, if they would just look at both sides, castigate and chastise Republicans and Democrats, I don't care, but be fair about it. And that is the thing that is going on. There is nothing resembling fairness or equity.
When I was in the media, it wasn't real fair, but they tried. So what I will say is, the liberal point of view always we had a reporter that was very much involved with the abortion issues, supportive of it. She always did the abortion stories. I was kept away from those things. I was kept away from gay rights stories or whatever they thought, because I was a Christian that I couldn't cover fairly, until the year that they did. There was something happened, and I ended up having to do this series on gay students coming in and into the schools and being out or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was a law that was coming up. And that year, I got every award that year for being the most fair journalist, because my photographer disagreed with me. And so together we had both sides, and we
interesting,
and it was fair. But that's not, and I can say that without a doubt, that the stuff I see right now on the media, my bosses would, even as liberal as they were, I would never have gotten away with that, ever. I had a news director, Rob, and he's still alive, and we're good friends. He's a good guy, and he's more liberal than me, but he's sensible. And he came in our newsroom and he said, we're not going to call it anti-abort. We're not going to call it pro-life and pro-choice, because this isn't about choice and it's not about life. We're going to call it what it is. This is about abortion. So it's either pro abortion or anti abortion. And quit putting all these pretty labels on it to make it
Yep.
sound like we're pro choice. No, well, so am I. I'm pro, you can have sex or not. You can use a rubber or you don't have
Yep.
to. And if you get pregnant, you can adopt that child out to someone who wants a child. Those are all choices that I'm very pro. I'm not pro choice of murder. And so that, but that was like, when they did that, when this news director did it, and like I said, he wasn't like a conservative. He was just going, we have to be factual. And what's the issue? Many of the other reporters who were more liberal would just cringe and they'd write all around it because they didn't want to say that. And they would avoid it like a plague. And I found it so telling, because you're sitting here going,
Yep.
they didn't want to get chastised in the community because people in the community would notice if you all of a sudden start saying, this is, pro-abortion or anti-abortion. And it's stuff like that was really haunting. And then when COVID, yeah, like you said, then it became, now you can be biased and it doesn't matter anymore,
And look how far we've gone since then. I mean, that opened up Pandora's box, and now, oh my gosh, they're not even pretending to hide anything. They're not even pretending to hide the fact that they're communists anymore. Well, they call themselves democratic socialists. They haven't full out said communist yet. That'll be another 3 to 5 years before they flat out come out and say, oh yeah, I'm a communist. But now it's democratic socialism, they call it.
So are you nervous about that? You saw the results in Michigan where this guy, he was supposed to win by a lot more, but basically the people of Michigan put him in this district, put him in.
Yeah.
And
horrifying.
Like,
absolutely horrifying.
Yeah. I don't think people really do enough homework to understand. Do you know what, if we become a socialist country, what you give up? I mean, look at Canada. You don't have to go far. Look at Canada. I communicate with people all over the world on a regular basis, Germany, Canada, to a lesser extent, France, things like that. And I sent some so I don't know if you saw the past couple of days, maybe it was yesterday, where President Trump was on stage and that little boy was wandering off. So he kind of went, just, and Grandpa kicked in and he shooed him back. No, go back over here. So I thought that was a cute clip. And I sent it to someone in the People's Republic of Canada yesterday. They said, oh, I can't open it. This is what I get. And they sent me a screenshot of, this video is not available in your region. Canada censors that shit. Canada censors everything. I have seen socialized medicine around the world, man. I've seen it firsthand. I've watched people die because of socialized medicine. I could sit here for 5 hours and tell stories. And I have a lot of history and a lot of past that I don't share with people because I just don't. That's as outgoing and as public as I am. There's a lot of stuff I don't. But on these types of things, I've seen them firsthand, and we are the best nation on earth. Are we perfect? Hell no. Do we have a lot to fix? Hell yeah. But I'm telling you, compared to what goes on in the rest of the world, we have it made in space. We have to go to socialized medicine. You ass clowns will be spending $12 for a jar of Jiffy frickin' peanut butter because that money doesn't come out of nowhere, and your quality of care goes down. Look at this MAID thing they're doing in Canada. Look at the stuff that they're doing in, was it Sweden, Amsterdam? Oh, it started off with, yeah, you're old and sick. We'll kill you. We'll put a bullet in your head and we'll call it good. We'll get you off the public books that way. We don't have to pay for your health care. And now it's like, yeah, you're 14 and you're depressed and you want to die. Yeah, we'll give you this jab. We'll let you die by lethal injection. Communism and socialism is an evil that and people that come from those countries are the ones that we should be talking to. So when they tell you, no, I lived through this is the worst thing in the world, but they don't get the airtime. They don't get the airtime. They don't get the time of day to tell their stories about what it really is. We have to protect America. We have to keep America what America is. If America falls, the planet falls. Yeah. Well, I was in Rome and got in a bike accident, and I was in the ER. I mean, they have free healthcare. I was in the but there's a cost. I was in the ER for nine hours, and they had me patched up pretty quickly, and then they lost my records, and I'm sitting there, they're all speaking Italian, and I don't speak Italian. So I'm relying on, whoever can come in the room with English, and I should have been released, 5 hours prior to that.
Yep.
And so I sat around there, and finally I just got up and I said, I said, I need to get out of here. And they put me in a cab with a non-English speaking guy, told him to drive me to the medical center, that pharmacy. And I just showed him the list, give me my drugs and take me home. And then I went out and I didn't take the drugs, but I went out and drank lots of wine that night, and I felt a lot better.
I've worked with some British expats, And the stories of you need a knee replacement. Oh, you get a knee replacement here in a month or two. I mean, I've seen it even less with some people. You go in, oh, it's that bad. Let's do the MRI. Let's do this. Okay, yeah, let's get you on the books, and it can get done really fast. In these socialized medicine countries, and people use the UK and Canada a lot as the shining example of free healthcare. It takes years. It takes literally. I know people in these countries that have taken years for hips. Now, that's years from the time the surgeon finally goes, yeah, okay, you're a candidate for it. It's 6 months to a year to get to that point. I worked with a guy from Canada who had a screwed up back, and he needed an MRI in his country. He was on a waiting list for over a year. So drive down to America, pay for it, get it done. I had neck surgery last year. I had really bad disc degeneration and just years of abuse and stuff like that. Turns out I was way worse than I thought. There were pieces of my discs that were like off and floating in there and jabbing and causing me pain. And maybe not the smartest guy, so sometimes I just pain, hurt, keep going. And I did that for too long. And finally, I got to the point I had to go to a doctor and say, like, look, man, like this pain's killing me. Like I don't take drugs. If you give me a morphine pill that weighs a pound, I will eat it right now. And they did an MRI on me. They got things going, realized it was bad. Within 2 months from my very first visit, I was in recovery after having 2 discs replaced, 2 discectomies and replacements with hardware and all kinds of stuff like that. 2 months. That doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. That does not happen in socialized countries. In fact, a lot of the procedures that we have here are not available in socialized countries. I had atrial fibrillation a number of years ago, so I had an ablation surgery on my heart. And we were one of like 3 places on the planet. What's that?
That sounds really bad, the word.
Ablation.
Yeah.
They send in some electronics, and then they zap some of the meat around the heart and kill it, so it creates scar tissue, and it creates a dielectric, so the electrical signal can't go through and misfire anymore. Because I was out in the desert, I was doing my desert stuff, and all of a sudden my heart went to 210 beats a minute and did not come down. Like they had to pump me full of blood thinners. I had to like lay down and not move for like days till they got all the clotting and stuff under control. And eventually I went for this surgery that was not available other than like maybe 3, 4, or 5 countries on earth at the time. And America being one of the top ones.
Rob, I'm shocked to know that you actually have a heart.
That's funny you say that, because all my guys from back in the day, that was I called a couple of them like, hey man, going for heart surgery. If I die, it was a pleasure, brother. It was good. And to a T, every one of them, you have a heart. It's like when people find out I have a cat, they're like, I thought you had Dobermans. No, I have a cat.
when my youngest son came to the gym one time here in Helena with me, and he was going on, and every person he'd meet, they'd come up and I go, oh, this is my son, Jess. And they go, oh, I'm sorry, to my son, And so we get in the car to go home, and my wife goes, so how was that working out with your dad? And Jess goes, Mom, it's so funny. Every single one of Dad's friends, when he told them I was his son, they said to me that they were sorry.
That's funny. That's good.
So Rob, why Coos Bay? You've been. I know you're from Texas originally, or somewhere. You've lost most of your Texas accent's kind of gone. Yeah, though.
I'm not a drinker, but if I have a beer, it comes back, and when I go home, it comes back. And I fell in love with this place. I fell in love with this place years and years and years ago, and I'd come out here crabbing, I'd come out here fishing and doing stuff like that. Fell in love with it. Didn't realize how communist it was, and it's gotten a lot worse in the past 14 years. It's a shame, but we live in paradise here. We have the most amazing backyard on earth. And I've been around, man. Like there's nothing that compares to this. Look at my day today. I got up, buddy jumped in the boat with me. We fished, we caught lingcod, we caught 2 species of crab, we caught 3 species of rockfish. We're on the Pacific freaking Ocean and tributary of it. I rushed back, and an hour later, all my chores are done, everything's done, and I'm sitting here talking to you. We have possibilities, capabilities, and things that we can do here that you just cannot do anywhere else on earth. We live in the most blessed. I hate using the word blessed because every atheist out there uses it now. #blessed. oh, I'm so blessed. Like, nah, okay, yeah. I mean, maybe you mean that well. I hate that word, but we live in the most blessed nation on earth. We absolutely do.
Yeah.
And this place has, I can elk hunt 20 minutes from my house. I can fish the ocean 20 minutes from my house. I mean, how do you beat that other than, purple hair, nose rings, protests, people laying on the ground. People aren't laying on the ground protesting as much anymore because a few of them got run over, which was a good thing.
Not by
But that,
you, just for the
not
record.
by me.
That was
No,
Doug Washington. That was not.
that was Doug. That was Doug. You see the bumper on my truck. Actually, can you?
That was Your Majesty.
I've got a guy I could see my mirror that is delivering something to me, and I didn't think he was coming today. Can I grab this and give you like 2-3 minutes to sign this stuff and grab it? I'll be right back.
We're good. We've done our 40 minutes. We're good. We're good. My man.
Awesome.
I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you giving up on your fishing trip. I mean, a little bit, coming in early.
For Rick Dancer, anytime.
Now, the one thing I haven't seen is the cod that you were going to send me. That would be,
You next time you're coming through here, you reach out to me. You send me a text, and I'll send you home with fish and crab, my friend.
My
or
wife,
or you come on the boat with me and catch it. That is a genuine.
I don't get seasick. I'm like good.
Well, I fish mostly the bay because I like throwing up on the water. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't throw up, so I'll be fine.
I'll throw up enough for both of us.
Rob, go get your package. Wink.
All right, my friend. Good seeing you, sir.
Gotta take care of it. See you later.
Always a pleasure. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Rob. There you go. So Rob's a great guy. Has a radio show in the Bay Area, Oregon's Bay Area, and Basin Tackle is how you can find him on Facebook and follow him. Always does some kind of little refreshing things. Has some fun with stuff. Doesn't take himself too seriously. And he's a native here, especially crabs for Rick. Oh man, I'll take crabs. Or actually, I don't think there's a plural, Sean, on crab. I think it's crab. I mean, I think it's just you have crab. It's like sheep. You don't have sheeps, you have sheep, and you don't have crabs, you have crab. I think. Now, I'm not some big grammatical guy, but that's what I learned in television. So, you guys have a great weekend. We'll be back next weekend. We got a whole lineup of shows coming up. Let me see if I can. I have my little black book that I write everything in, and we're going to the Bible. It's like my little Bible. I have a local Montana County Commissioner. I know Oregon has a lot of zoning laws. We don't have that many in Montana, and there's people who are saying we need them. And it's a real edgy topic, but I think people in Oregon, you guys in Oregon, are going to really enjoy this because it's kind of where you were, and that's kind of what's happening with Montana in that. And then we have also an interesting story that we broke with Oregon Roundup. They actually did the story. We had an interview about it, about the sheriff's department, and there are some huge problems in Curry County in the sheriff's department. And the report is out, where the money was going. It's pretty bad. So we'll be talking to Jeff on Thursday next week. The county commissioner is going to be on Tuesday, and we still are looking for a show for Wednesday. All right. Share this on your page. Tell your friends. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.